All right, we can get started. She is here. Let's see. Adding her now. We are waiting for her.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I didn't get to your story yet, but all of a sudden you just popped up.
Oh, perfect. To show that you're watching, so I just added you.
Oh, yay.
All right. So, you guys, we are going to first play I Never. It's an author edition, so it should be a lot of fun. Let's see. All right. Your first question is, have you ever fangirled over another author? You
Uh-oh, did
have.
I print it out wrong?
I didn't even think about that. Who
Well,
did
you
you
sent
say?
me, who did I kind of stalk?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so as a new author, there's tons of amazing authors. So there's one in particular that's actually in my publishing group, and she has written so many books and they're amazing. Rebecca Conley, I don't know if you know her, and I love her. And so yeah, I stalk everything that she does because I'm trying to figure out how she's so successful. And I try to copy that. So, but
Yeah,
yes,
that's
I
so
I
fun.
stalk her and I see, I'm like, how in the world do you sell so many books? So that's just why I stalk her.
Does she write the same type of books as you?
She does. And actually, she's the reason why I found my publisher because I contacted her. I said, who do you use as a publisher? And she says, well, my publisher is actually accepting new authors right now. And that's how I found it. So, but I still stalk her. Another person I stalk is Elizabeth Johns. I'm not sure if you know her. She's also Regency. Um, yeah, I would like to say I don't stalk authors, but I do. I like to know what they're doing.
Hey, it makes sense. I stalk them all the time. All right. Our next question is, have you ever written fan fiction?
Never.
Never. If you could write fan fiction, what would you write it for? How about that?
You know, fan fiction is like a whole new area that I haven't really explored yet. But I don't even have a good answer for that one. I apologize.
Hey,
Fan
it's
fiction is
okay.
one of those things where I see authors talk about it all the time, kind of like the stalking thing. I'm like, oh, they're so cool that they can do that. But I haven't got around to it yet.
All
Sorry.
right. Have you ever lied to your editor and told her you have more written than you actually did?
Well, okay, so never, but I just say that most of the time I have a lot written, but it's not the quality I have to submit to her. So I may have the pages written and it's great, but I still have to do a lot of editing before I even send it to my editor. And that's what I think people don't realize is you can't just, you want it to be the best version before you send it off to your editor.
That
So
makes
I may
sense.
say, yeah, just have a lot of editing. All right.
Yeah, makes sense. Have you ever kept it a secret from your family or your spouse that you're an author?
Yes.
Ooh, who'd you hide it from? Your parents?
Well, when so when I first started writing, um, my background's in construction, so construction management. So all of a sudden I decided to write a book. And I had no experience other than two college courses, other than being an avid reader, other than just kind of reading around on the internet. I had no, I mean, people go to school for 4 years, 8 years, they get their PhD on how to write books, and I just decided one day to write a book. So I kind of kept it a secret for a long time because I knew my family would openly mock me. And then when it finally started kind of happening, and my husband was always supportive, but I kind of probably kept it quiet writing for a few months.
Um, I think I would too. Probably a lot longer. Probably never tell them.
Well, the thing is when my first book was published, a lot of my families and friends thought I was like kind of doing a joke, like an April Fool's type joke, even though it was coming out in September because I sometimes like to do practical jokes. So they just assumed that I was doing a one big practical joke, and it took them a while to realize, no, I actually wrote a book and it's actually published. It was it was pretty sad. It was I got more
That
than,
is
is this
funny.
a real thing? Yes, it's a real thing.
That's great. All right, let's see. Have you written have you written your own name when you were signing a book? Is that what I written? Written my own name wrong. Have you written your name wrong when you were signing a book?
No, but then again, I have never done a book signing yet, other than so I sign it and send it off to like beta readers and like blog reviewers, but I've never sat down at a book review and signed my name. So I'm sure I would screw up there, but as of right now, my signature is not that much in demand.
Makes sense. Have you ever cried while writing?
All the
You have.
time.
Well, you do like to kill people, so there is that.
I do. And actually, in the fourth book that my editor has now, someone dies, and I kept thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't kill that character off because I kept thinking, oh, and but I cry all the time. It's to the point now when I'm crying and I'm at my tablet, my kids are like, oh, you're working on your book, aren't you? Like it doesn't even faze them anymore because you have to kind of get into the character and you have to understand exactly what they're going through at that time. And so, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I cry all the time. It's more so in the books. I don't really cry that much in real life. So, yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, the real to me. Let's see. Have you ever based a character on yourself?
Yes. Now,
Ooh, which one?
so I would say,
Shadow, are you really a spy?
but obviously, I would like to be a spy. I definitely think there's like Lady Eliza. Obviously, she's a spy and she's like a kick-ass spy and she's really awesome, and she has all these issues. But I think probably the one that I'd be most like is Hannah, where
Mm,
I wouldn't, if I was royalty, obviously, or nobility, I would have no problem getting down to work. And also, I would want to break the stereotypes and I would want to learn how to, throw a dagger and do all this other stuff. If I wish I was like Eliza and just awesome all around, but I'd probably more be like Hannah that can't seem to hit the target. But she tries. Bless her heart. Yes.
she tries. She does. I love her. Um, okay, so this probably does not apply to you, to your books because they're cleaner books because of the time period. But have you ever Googled new names for the male anatomy?
No, I have not done that. But it's funny because sometimes I'll be trying to write a scene and I'm sitting there and I think, gosh, I type in, and this has been my biggest downfall. I'm thinking, how could I, his chest was pounding, how could I kind of describe this? And so sometimes I go onto the Google and type something in to kind of get some ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
there's some really raunchy stuff that has come up because I type in something innocent, like saying his heart was pounding, he was trying to like, that, and all of a sudden I get all this like just horrible like not porn, but just horrible information, and I'm like, whoa, no, I was trying to do a sweet thing, and so I've kind of stopped doing that. But sometimes as you're sitting there writing, you're trying to think, how could I describe this better and use different words? So sometimes I do that, but I have to be very, very careful when I write in that Google bar. So it can get pretty bad.
Okay. Have you ever laughed whenever you were killing off a character because you knew it would break our hearts,
Um,
us the reader?
I don't think I've ever killed anyone off that that's part of the core. I mean, that's part of the core. Um, I don't think I could handle like if Eliza died or Benedict or Kate or one of them. I've never laughed. Most of the time I'm thinking, oh, hopefully they won't get upset with me on this one. Or if you've read the third book, I'm not sure I kept someone alive.
I did.
Yeah, so I don't know how you felt about that at the end, but I kept someone alive to create that another story. So that person will have a whole other story.
I had mixed thoughts.
Yeah. My
I
mom,
mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't want anyone to die.
my mom, when she read that, she's like, I cannot believe that person is still alive. I'm like, and before I actually had to change the words around because I needed a little more sympathy for that character because there wasn't a lot. And my mom's like, no, kill that person off, kill her off. Oh, whoops, kill the person off. I should not have said the gender. So hopefully no one has listened. But yes. But that person will have a very interesting story where that character will show loyalty to the Beckett family later on.
Right. Okay. I'm pretty sure I know who we're talking about, but at first I thought they were talking about someone else, so I'm good now.
So on book number 3, in the epilogue, when they go back to the
Okay.
house, and then
Yeah, okay.
okay,
I got it now.
is that the one you were thinking of?
Well, at first I was thinking of a male character that lived that probably should have died.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that male character will be in book number 4.
Well, we have to have him.
Yes.
Because he's like the big.
He's the bad guy.
Okay. Before we give away spoilers, let's go ahead and move on. Have you ever co-written a book? I don't think you have, but hey, maybe.
No.
Actually, we'll go ahead and tie that in with number 11. And have you written under a secret pen name?
No. It was interesting. My publisher asked, do you want to use a code name, kind of like a secret name? And the reason why I chose to use my name is because there's nothing bad in it. I mean, there's a couple scandalous makeout scenes, but for the most part, my 13,
Heavy petting?
yeah, my 13-year-old son could open it up. And it's not his cup of tea, it's not his genre. But I wouldn't be embarrassed like at church if the ladies are reading it versus there are some books where I start blushing as I'm reading it and I'm married of 18 years. So I try to not read those books.
It makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had someone else's character make a cameo in your book?
No, not yet. Not yet. So
that'd be fun. I wouldn't know because I don't read much. You're like the only Regency historical I read. So
then stick with me because I'm the best. No, I'm just teasing. Sorry.
Okay. Well, that was so fun. I really enjoyed that. Do you want to go ahead and tell us about To Love a Spy?
Yes. So, To Love a Spy is the third book of the Beckett Files. And so in the first book, we follow Lady Eliza Beckett, and as she overcomes basically post-traumatic stress to become back to where she's more of an assassin than an agent, back to the spy. And then in the second book, we kind of go along with her brother, Laura Jonathan Beckett, and this is when spies have infiltrated Parliament. They're French spies who've come over, and they're trying to, in the third book, to pass a bill. And in this, they're trying to, by passing a bill to defund the war, they're trying to weaken English, influence in Europe, because during that time, England, during the Napoleon Wars, they actually gave about 65 million pounds. So it wasn't so much their forces that they kept them alive, but it was their impenetrable navy and their money that helped the Allies. So the war was very unpopular at that time. So it would be very easy to kind of sway the people away. But if they did not fight the war, then Napoleon would win. So they had to fight the war. And during this time, our sweet Lady Camden, Lady Kate, she has basically her mother has died at this point and her husband has died. And she does not trust people, especially men, and she's happy at her own refuge in her country estate. And here comes the new Lord Camden, who, and she's Lady Camden, but she would not be considered the dowager until the new Lord Camden got married. So he basically has a right to lord over her. He's responsible for her allowance, for her living expenses, everything. Yeah, and then when he gets married, she becomes the dowager, Lady Camden. So she doesn't want him to have that control, but they kind of create this unusual alliance of friendship. And he decides he wants to reintroduce her into society, but instead falls in love with her. So it
And
takes
it's
her a
so
little longer.
sweet. He is probably the most aggressive hero. Not aggressive, but I feel
Yes,
like he kisses more than any of the others.
yes. And it's interesting because there's one scene where he pretty much threatens to kill thousands of people to get his Kate back, and
Hmm.
he has lived alone for 7 years as a spy. His definition of right and wrong has kind of been blurred. And his only focus now is to save Kate because that has become his new dream basically. And when she is taken from him, he does not know how to respond because she's his home, and so he's very aggressive. Yes, he's a very aggressive. But then again, to be honest, spies are. I mean, if you look at me, obviously James Bond is different, but they had to do a lot of unique right and wrongs where we would definitely say, oh, that's definitely wrong. But how else are they supposed to get the information from someone? But yes, he did. Yeah, he did do something bad that Kate got very upset about. But in his
Hmm.
mind, he did nothing wrong because he was acting as Hawk, the spy, not as Adrian. And he didn't
Yeah.
understand how she could not see the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. You'll need to pick it up, and I will put, if you go to my link in my bio, and then we'll go to shop, and I'll have the link to the books, to all three books in there, so y'all can watch that.
Yay.
Or buy that, not watch it. I guess you'll be reading it.
Hey, if they want to watch it, I will read to them. My voice might get very annoying after a while, but it works.
Well, there you go, y'all. You need her to read it to you, she will.
Yes.
All right. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. Well,
What?
we did see we had a bunch of people watch, but let's see, where did they go?
Oh
We
no,
did have someone ask before
spoiler.
we really got started, what was the best book you read in 2018? Do you have a favorite book for this year?
Obviously mine, To Love a Spy. Obviously. Gosh, I read so, like that's the thing. I read so much. I'm either writing or reading. I I'm even trying to think. There's a new one called The Orient Express, which is a bunch of smaller books by a few authors, and that's fantastic. Like I said, Elizabeth Johns, I'm a huge fan of her.
I haven't read her. Well, all
She's,
right.
she's actually even cleaner than I am. So I am a little more risque Regency
Oh,
author.
really?
Yeah, because in the sense that I have a lot more kissing. And
Mm.
I have been dinged by the Christian community by the kissing, and I do say swear words. I do say the H word and the D word, and so I have been dinged a few times on my reviews by that. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I know.
Who would have thought?
And I'm like sitting here thinking, a spy cannot say, "Please, sir, don't stab me today." They would be a lot more aggressive and say, "Do not stab me today," or engage in fisticuffs.
You should tell them that they say the H word at church, so get over it.
That is true. That is true. Well, and also at one point I said, in the third book I had to take away because every time I talked about the French bastards, I had to take away
Oh.
those, but I'm thinking, but seeing I try to find the right words because it's hard when you're talking about the French and they were at war. They hated the French. And
Right.
it's kind of like us saying, oh, we're not a huge fan of terrorists. And let's go get those terrorists. And they're all nice and polite. It's not like that. It's like, let's go bomb those terrorists. Sorry. Sorry. Don't bomb terrorists. Sorry. Sorry.
Little tangent there. How long did it take you to write your book?
It takes so initially it takes about 2 months. Then I send it off to my editor for 2 months, and then she sends it back. Then I make revisions. Then I send it to some beta readers, and then I send it to my publisher. So, and then he takes their 2 months. So all in all, it's about a 6 month period.
Oh, wow, that's actually a lot longer than I expected.
If and that's the thing, because my background's in construction, if I actually knew the English language, because there's a lot of different nuances of the English language, I probably could cut that down. But believe it or not, 6 months is a very fast turnaround for a book through hybrid. Traditional, it typically takes about a year, traditional
Okay.
publishing.
Yeah, I'm used to indies, so it's usually boom, 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 boom. I can't even keep up reading as fast as they write books.
There are some authors that they have new books out every month, and I'm like, how do you do that and feed your children? Like, I think that's my biggest thing is my kids like to eat, and my husband complains when I don't, when I stay up too late at night because I'm writing stories, or sometimes I have to take my kids to the park and stuff. So, yeah, it's fun. My kids want attention.
How dare they?
Selfish children.
My kid didn't want to go to sleep, so I'm like, I have something I have to do, so you just have to lay here in your bed.
Well,
So,
my kids are on spring break, so I'm like, oh, it's 9:30. We're good. Just keep talking for a little bit. Just be good. So, some good
my
parenting
spring break was
101.
like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, we only have a week of spring break here, but it's finally warm, so I'm glad.
It was warm here 2 days ago, but then today was in the 50s. It was like almost 90 in Dallas 2 days ago, and then today it's 50. I'm like, this is why we're all sick.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We'll get normal again soon.
Hopefully, that's the deal.
All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If y'all have any comments, we will leave this on here for 24 hours, and then it'll be on Facebook and on YouTube. So make sure you come and comment, and we'll come back and talk to you.
Yay! Thank you so much. Thank you.